after sustaining various degrees of injuries is most regrettable. President John Dramani Mahama has already ordered a full-scale investigation into the incident. Following this incident, we in Parliament have noted a desperate attempt by the NPP minority in Parliament to politicize the matter. The NPP falsely claims that there is a so-called upsurge in political violence in the country. They also created a misleading impression that the unfortunate demise of the miners is as a result of political violence. The NDC Majority Caucus in Parliament condemns the desperate attempt by the NPP Minority Caucus to politicize the unfortunate development in Obuasi. Instead of sympathizing with the bereaved families and applauding government proactiveness, the NPP minority is dabbling in cheap politics. Ladies and gentlemen, it is obvious that NPP is yet to recover from the shock of its monumental defeat, and as such, they are engaging in cheap politicking. We urge them to come to terms with the resounding defeat that they suffered in the last election and allow the 2 weeks old government to steer the affairs of state in line with the mandate of the people of Ghana. Finally, we wish to assure the people of Ghana that pursuant to the directive of His Excellency the President, impartial, timely, and efficient investigation would be carried out in due course in the matter that has just happened at Obuasi. And the NDC does not subscribe to violence. We want to assure the people of Ghana once again that the NDC Majority Caucus stand ready to work with the NPP if they so desire to work with us, and ensuring that whatever we do, we will together help the people of Ghana recover from the massive economic shackles that they've left behind. Thank you very much.
For Finance Minister Honorable Kesel Ato Forson wono ene MPP for ne gina ho a wo kire mu se ampane asi no e Obuasi ya papa se enipa kwakopani wo mbedie na akoban se arehosem na aba ama wo nyina bibiri na timiewu na wonka tiasefo ho eno o kire mu se aban beye ne obetimi aye bia se na beye asumdwe beba Obuasi na obi aho atimi atono wosan kire mu se ade ba ko etwa mo nsuru mu kura ne se MPP for afa eye asem we a omoadan party asem na obehwe na ntutu yatimi akọ na wahye aban kutupa ewo kwan so a obetimi aboa amasumdua ba no wo mu amfane sa na emu omadan no na omoka ade atia Obuasi galamsey mrantie ne ba ko bi na na ni kochu amansan hu ne sie nyina wo che ne nsemu eche ne sie abusua meyentie
10-20 ene ya adwene se yekọ bibia first ne edwuma no kodo ne akwa edwuma enti yekọ ye no Yewula company ni mu wiye no na e friend say soldier for ba ho.
Around 10 to 10:20 thereabout, we decided to head to Kodo to work. After we entered the area, the military arrived. We were more than 300 miners present.
E common idea aba hanom. Said ye be dinti, yamba ne ntokwa yamba ne bibia. Enti soldier for ne selom. Nti commander no ko no receive call ni wiye na.
Once they parked their armored vehicle, the commander received a call. At that moment, our leaders knelt down and raised their hands, telling the soldiers that we were only there to earn our daily bread, not to fight or cause any disturbance. However, after the commander ended the call, he cocked his gun, pointed it to the ground, and suddenly began spraying bullets into the crowd. The shooting continued relentlessly for about 30 minutes. As people fled, the soldiers shot at them from behind. I know that soldiers are not supposed to shoot at fleeing individuals. Look, people's brains were scattered all over the place. I can provide videos to show the horror. The area is abandoned, one of 7 locations where AngloGold Ashanti no longer operates. What crime have we committed? We were only there to make a living. And for these human beings were killed like mosquitoes. Look at the people who have been killed.
Company baby more than 7-8 good years. When you because you new alternative. A common idea, you will be yellow one bow. South Asia, and the option, the only option I have for survive.
We live in this town, Obuasi. You set up your company here and left us hungry. Or is it because we don't have anyone to speak on our behalf? We went there because we are desperate to feed our families and children. We are not armed robbers. We use hammers, chisels, and tools to work for our survival. So far, 12 people have died and dozens are in the hospital. Many others are still in the forest fighting for their lives, and we cannot access them.
So far, the hospital which my kind. Which I said, the hospital which mean kind. Baby, I was a machine now we use no, two don't use no. I don't know the type of gun they are using. A power. Which I said, the answer come. The war forest in my intimate and they are uncountable.
Dr. Sanju Deli, Ocheni Semuse, Yadia, Abain, any galamsey for and Dini Kra, Sanse, and which ewo na uhia ewo ama wonyan de odbeko anu ntino na ama wo moye galamsey na nka niema na guna kwan to tensane o man na hwehwe na enka yade a omsobde omho behye san niema we mu.
Galamsey is complex. Much like corruption, it's easy to just say end the corruption, stop the stealing, stop the polluting of the water bodies, but that oversimplifies and it doesn't actually present a sustainable solution to the problem, right? What is the problem? Why are people polluting the water bodies? Poverty. It's driven by a lack of economic opportunities. It's driven by a lack of social mobility. It's driven by a massive gap and driven by the failure of leadership and the failure of government to create the right environment to lead to socio-economic transformation.
But isn't it imbecile level poverty to say because you don't have food to eat or a battery to power some equipment in your home, you will rid your community of drinking water?
Yes, but you see, it is of course, when we look at it from that perspective, for sure. But what I'm saying here is, in no way will I defend the activities, but I'm saying that if you want to stop it and you don't understand the underlying cause of it, you will fail. So if we don't address the economic issues and how we create economic opportunities, because I read a report somewhere, I can't attest to the validity of the numbers, but it seemed to suggest that as many as 2 million Ghanaians are involved.
It's an industry,
right?
It's a legitimate industry now.
So, and I think this is why, if you look at a lot of what President Mahama has discussed about this, he speaks about not eliminating it, but doing it in an environmentally responsible way, right? We have all these resources, right? If we look at, look at the fact that our gold, the amount of gold we've had, some of our mines have been mined for 100 years. What transformation has come out of that?
What do we have to show for it?
What do we have to show for it? What do we have to show for it? And the disconnect between the resources that God has endowed us with and blessed us with versus what the people on the ground see, feel, and experience. Right? And so I don't think that we have been fair to a lot of the communities that give us all these resources. Right? We've not been fair to them. And it's one thing to not do anything for them, but it's another thing to allow the sort of degradation that has occurred in many of these communities.
That makes them so desperate.
Yes.
That they will do the
So
very
galamsey,
things.
it's a public health issue, but it's also an economic issue.
True.
And if we just focus on the public health and we don't look at the economic issues and we don't understand the political economy at play,